Okay, here we have the first of our ideas. We originally called this idea Summer Crush, but we have actually since changed it, or I changed it just now to Love Tap. I thought that might be a slightly better name for it. But we continue to do things like brainstorm names at the Development Volunteer Day itself. What I really wanted to do was get in and get some good ideas for how to structure these. So quickly to overview here on the basic elements of our story. We have these sort of light red boxes, which are our HTML pages, right? The pages of our story. We have these circles, which are the chapters of our stories. You always go and start on one page, which is a starting page of your chapter, move sequentially into the last page of your chapter, and then as you probably guessed, these arrows are our transition elements. I've also organized the chapters into episodes in order to organize the story a little bit. And I guess without further ado, we'll kind of get into this story, which is targeted more towards the teen girl crowd, probably 12 to 15 years old, who might be interested in over the summer kind of using this technology as an excuse to interact a little bit with a boy they have a crush on. Maybe they're at a slumber party with a group of girls too, and they're looking to get a little bit of a giggle out of something like this. So the way the app opens up, oh, there we go. That's the view I wanted to begin with, but here we go. The way the app opens up, right, is it gets some quick user information. So it asks, what's your name? Here our username is Joni. Name your crush, right, and then Joni can name their crush here, and named it Chachi. And then you upload a couple of pics of yourself and your crush. So maybe Joni takes a selfie and then finds a picture of Chachi on Facebook. And you would probably need to do here a little circle around the face like you see in a lot of the apps, just to really identify the face of the apps, and you'll see why here as we move into our first episode. And the first episode is kind of Joni daydreaming about Chachi. Okay, so you kind of open up, and maybe it's Chachi writing in her, or Joni writing in the diary. Chachi is so dreamy, signed Joni. And then where you get a few of the giggles from this chapter is imagine here taking this photograph and removing Leo and Rose's face here, Jack and Rose's face, and putting in the face of the person who took the selfie and the person they had a crush on. You could have several of these kinds of little movie scenes, and it could be a funny thing to see, especially maybe for a 12-year-old girl who's a fan of these kind of pictures. Maybe Titanic wouldn't be the best picture to use considering the age group we're targeting, or maybe it would be. They just released a 3D version, but anyways, those are the types of things to decide at the volunteer day. Another quick idea we had is maybe to impose the name. So you could say something such as Chachi is the cheese to Joni's macaroni. It kind of sounds goofy, but the whole point of the app is to be a little bit goofy and be a little bit fun here. So here the point is, okay, you've had this sort of dream sequence, you've thought about how great it is in your diary to be with your crush, but hey, enough dreaming. It's time to actually get your crush to send you out on a date. And the way you do that is you give them to give you a love tap. So the idea here is maybe the next day at school, or even if you're at a slumber party and you're with, say, girl-guy slumber party, you'd have to go and actually tap your phone with that crush. And the alternative to really move the story forward is you could also say, or get your crush to send you an SMS. So you could have to, in this case, Joni would have to text Chachi and say, hey Chachi, I'm playing this game Love Tap, and in order to get you to take me out on a date, you have to send me a text message. And maybe we even make them send a text message with some goofy word to make it even sillier, something like, you have to send me a text message with the word Fruit Loops. And so that's our first transition. So here we have our first transition, which can take you to a number. We chose 3 here of what we call dates. So this is the episode 2, the date sequence. So after you get your love tap or your SMS from your crush, you're rewarded with a date with them. And so your date could be at a number of different environments. In this case, we chose the zoo. If you're wondering what this If Peanuts is, when we first did this idea, we actually had it exclusively as an SMS, and the SMS would have to contain a word, and the word might be something such as peanuts, and if it was peanuts, you would go to the zoo with your date. If it was dolphin, you would go to the aquarium with your date. But what I've done here is decided it might be a little bit more fun to have that tap element in there and to maybe randomize where you wind up on a date, and that way you could even go on multiple dates with the same person, not really knowing where you're going to wind up by tapping multiple times or receiving multiple SMSs. So here again, right after I explained that, you understand the whole peanuts, but so whatever, you got your crush to give you a love tap or to send you an SMS, and it looked like you wound up at the zoo. So, now again, at the Development Volunteer Day, maybe come up with some clever ways. It could be, I think, hilarious if you had then your crush's face imposed here on some kind of an animal, kind of as if here we took a tiger and imposed it on a kangaroo and gotten a pretty funny effect. I think it could be an equally funny effect to have all of a sudden your crush's face on a kangaroo. So something like that moving forward, having several of these little slides, which make it kind of a funny thing to feel like you and your crush are actually going to the zoo together. And then eventually, as you move on with your date, things are going pretty well, and whoa, your heart starts racing. It looks like your crush is leaning in for a kiss. And then we sort of engage in some kind of really simple kiss mini game, and so I'm not really sure exactly what this would look like. I think it would be something fairly easy to develop at the Development Volunteer Day itself, but the idea is you have a really simple mini game, and either it's a success and you're able to get your kiss from your crush, or it's a failure. And really quick here, I forgot to mention this at the beginning, but these square boxes indicate that it's a final chapter. So the circles are always chapters and the squares are always chapters, but the distinguishing factor is that the circle chapters always continue to another chapter, and these square chapters are always sort of ending. So here, if you fail the minigame, really your date is over. Your love tap story is over, and you fail to get your kiss, and you're not really getting to move forward. Maybe you can start back from the beginning and move through the sequence again and try to beat the mini game. In order to do that, you have to get your crush to send you another SMS, which is even more embarrassing. But you might also get to go to another date in the process. However, if you're successful with getting your kiss, you kind of get this success chapter, right? So, wow, you got your first kiss with Chachi. A summer of love awaits, and this is kind of the chapter where, again, you could superimpose some pictures of you and your summer crush enjoying this summer-long romance, and you feel like you've succeeded in getting your first kiss, and now you're off on embarked on this virtual romance with your crush. And oh, what a summer, but you have to decide, is this true love with your crush? And so you take a quick quiz to find out. So it opens up one of those. I'm sure even the guys in the group have probably seen the online quizzes where you go in and you kind of decide, oh, is this the person you're going to spend the rest of your life with? And you take the quiz, and again you have a success failure type thing, and you kind of wrap up with the final episode with something either, oh yes, you stay truly in love with this person, or no, you break up with this person. So this was the first idea that we came up with, running through. I think it's got a fair amount of creativity in it, and what I think makes it really strong is that each individual gets to feel like they're really interacting with the story, because it's their face and the face of someone they have a crush on kind of going through the elements of the story. And they also feel as if they have some involvement in whether or not their summer romance with their crush actually plays out. Another kind of funny thing about this is that you wouldn't really have to do this with someone you knew, so that you could have the potential here to have, I don't know, a girl has a crush on Barack Obama and has his face in it, and it could be, I think, fairly hilarious to have pictures of, you as a girl with holding hands and walking with Barack Obama, or with a number of other sort of celebrity type figures. That one just came to my head. I'm not really sure why. But anyways, so that's the first idea for the summer crush, and there will be more to come.